Hello and welcome to the Big Bang Theory podcast. My name's John. I'm here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Hello.
Hello, Dan. Dan, we may not have seen Pep Guardiola at Exeter City. We may not have seen Alex Ferguson in a very long time. But we did get to see the glorious reign of Colin Calderwood, now departed from Cambridge United. He's gone.
He's gone, has he?
He's gone. Calderwood gone.
Ah.
So that's a silver lining to a strange week for Exeter City.
Yeah, it was a weird week, wasn't it? Quite a few things have happened since we last put out any content.
Yeah. How have you been, listener? I hope you've been well.
Coming at you a little bit later than usual, aren't we, this week, because of the Tuesday night.
Yeah, and one of us had a trip to St Ives, which was,
Yeah.
blustery. Tuesday night happened. We'll talk about that more in a minute. Saturday afternoon happened. And then last week, Tuesday night happened in the leasing.com.
Yeah.
Should we start there?
Well, yeah, let's gloss over that very quickly.
So, Stevenage came to SJP.
Yeah.
You didn't have to stand in the away end this time.
No.
You and about 2,000 other people turned out.
Yeah, sat down, 3-0.
Liquid football.
It was easy. Stevenage were useless. It was a full strength side from them, actually. And it was not a strong-ish side from us, but not full strength. And, brushed them aside. Nicky Jose and 2 from your man Matt J.
Of course, Stevenage sponsored by Burger King. And after the game, it was said, we just don't want to be associated with this overweight and slovenly brand, said Burger King.
But
Thank you very much. So 3-0, so that takes us to the leasing.com semi-final.
Yeah, which we now have discovered where we'll play Portsmouth away. So our little run of getting home fixtures is over.
Yep.
We've got to go to Fratton Park.
Yeah, and obviously that sounds like a difficult tie. I think Portsmouth they're the current holders, aren't they?
Yeah, and they're flying in League One, aren't they?
They're flying in League One.
Very well.
They've also been drawn in the FA Cup against one of the Premier League teams, haven't they?
Man United, isn't it?
Man United.
No, it's Arsenal, sorry.
It's Arsenal.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. So maybe that'll be in our favour. I don't know if the games are kind of the same kind of time or what, but,
you'd think they wouldn't put too much emphasis on it, but as holders, they're going to want to keep it.
Yeah.
Aren't they? So, and we'll do well to get anything out of that. But there's that. More on that when there's less other things to talk about, I reckon.
So then Saturday came, and Colchester United came with it. There's some big news around that, but maybe we'll just focus on the football to start with.
Yeah. Colchester coming in on like a really good run of form.
Unbeaten even longer than we have been. Had been at that point.
And looked strong. Basically, really, we played okay, but they were too strong for us, essentially. Well, and we were also too strong for them. It was just we kind of like cancelled each other out. Okay. It was a fair result. If they'd nicked it, I think maybe they might have edged the tie slightly. Okay. But I think a draw's fair. That one, they were really hard to break down. We couldn't really make it work. And apart from there was I keep trying to find it on the highlights. But there's a chance for Bowman where he was through on goal, and obviously he's not the quickest, but he had, for my money, he could have just pulled the trigger early. Okay. And he didn't. Right. And he tried to sort of cut it back and then cut it back again, and then the chance was gone. He didn't even get his shot off. And it was just seemed like, Yeah. And that's fine, whatever. But then fast forward, he had a similar opportunity to shoot early in the game last night, which we'll come on to. But I just kind of think, slight pattern emerging there. Just get your shot off. And I think maybe that comes down to a confidence thing of just wanting the tap in, or wanting the open goal, but rather than just like, just.
Yeah, I don't think he's, weirdly, even though he's got 10 goals on the sheet, he doesn't seem like a man brimming with, this is my thing, I'm going to boss this.
No.
And I think those 2 chances were indicative of that.
Yeah.
So that was 0-0 Colchester.
Yeah, there was a few other things. I think we rode our luck a little bit with this, because obviously we hadn't conceded up until this point, and after this point, until last night, in fact, we hadn't conceded a goal in 2020, which everyone was pointing out, because it is a nice little stat, isn't it? It's almost a month. Yeah. And a lot of games. Yeah. And no one else had managed it. Liverpool were the last team. Yeah. Holding out, and they conceded. So we but there was a chance where, and again, this is something that's coming up and an issue in a way, that Jayden Richardson kind of got done. Mm-hmm. down their right hand side in his unnatural sort of left back position, and luckily Sweeney was there to clear it off the line, and he was probably the pick of the bunch. I think he got man of the match, and he probably was the pick of the bunch in that game.
He's had a good few months, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's looked. Yeah, I think he's been back to close to his best, you know. So that was that really.
Another clean sheet at that point.
Yeah, at that point we were like, okay, well, we still haven't lost and we still haven't conceded. Fine, decent, you know. And then especially against a team in such good form.
Yeah. And that kept us on equal points with Swindon, did it? Or we were 2 points behind them, I think, at that point.
Yeah, but still with that game in hand.
That game in hand. And then last night came, Tuesday night, away at Port Vale. The Wembley of the North, they call it.
Yeah, why?
It's unnecessarily large ground. The white elephant of the town, I guess.
Oh, okay. I guess they were once a much bigger club, were they?
I don't know.
In the day?
I mean,
were they
historically, they've had some success, haven't they? But they've always been in Stoke City's shadow.
Yeah.
It's a massive stadium, isn't it? I was watching it on the iFollow last night.
I know, it looked insane because there's no one in it. It's like, there's just not enough people, is there? You know?
No. At one point, I saw a City fan, towards the end, run down to get the ball, and he was having to, take the steps two at a time to even, it was like full.
Well, one end was completely empty,
Yeah.
huge stand at one end, and the other end it sort of had a few people dotted about on it, and I know, what can you do, you know?
Well, yeah, funny old thing. Anyway, so City went there, and now obviously Port Vale are just on the edge of the playoff chase. They had that interesting Twitter episode with matey up front, Tom Pope. And,
he got banned for, didn't he?
But that's for his second thing. So first of all, he was giving John Stones a bit of grief. And then he said something else that I can't even remember. Something about someone he shouldn't have said.
Oh, I don't know. Anyway, he was back from his ban last night, and he came
on the bench. Yeah. But so City had a really good first half. I thought.
Yeah. Especially the first. We came out of the blocks really fast, and the whole first. We looked so comfortable, didn't we?
We did. Scored a goal in that first half.
And you couldn't ask for a better combination there, could you?
No.
New boy Brennan Dickinson puts in a lovely cross, which, I mean, if you're a Port Vale fan, I'd be disappointed in some of that defending. Somehow it manages to find its way all the way through.
Maybe Bowman got a flick
to a Jose. Yeah, possibly.
Yeah,
finds his way all the way through to a Jose at the back stick, and that's what the new boy.
Yeah,
setting up the kind of, the guy who's just, and he's not new, but just back from injury and for his first league goal.
Lovely. Took it really nicely.
Lovely. And we were just like, oh, this is great. But the thing is, Port Vale haven't lost at home for a really long time.
Yes.
And we also haven't won away on a Tuesday night since 2018 sometime. So it was never, it looked unlikely.
But that first half, we really could have done with a second goal. We had lots of pressure. I think the statistics at half-time was something like 60% possession to City. We'd had all the shots on target. They'd had nothing.
Well, they had a few crosses,
but they hadn't tested Maxted at all.
No, they hadn't. But they looked like, okay, they're going to be a sort of aerial threat here.
Yeah,
and so it came to pass.
So second half, I think Parks made a bit of a mistake, which meant that Dickinson's man was ahead of him.
The thing is, Parks rushes out, doesn't he? And then he leaves a huge gap in behind him.
But then the man's running through, Dickinson's chasing him, and I don't know what happened. Rush of blood to the head, or...
Didn't need to do it, did he?
He didn't need to do it. It was so blatant a penalty that... I mean, and a yellow card for Dickinson. And I felt sorry for him because he's just coming back, new club. He'd set up the first goal. He would have felt at half-time like...
Yeah, and he played really well, hadn't he? He was he looked really strong and And I was really impressed. That's the first sort of bit of football we've actually seen him play.
Yeah.
And he didn't need to do that.
No.
Because Martin was back. He was there, coming across. Maxted was coming out, closing the angle anyway.
Any kind of bad tackle there, is going to be a penalty.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, penalty it was. Of course, the team was slightly different. So Williams hadn't started, and neither had Nicky Law. So we had this kind of curious. Not that mattered for the penalty, but so then the penalty's taken. Maxted dives the right way, but it goes under his body.
Yeah.
Disappointingly, he will be disappointed by that because he'd made all the right decisions and it was just crept underneath him.
Yeah. I don't hold him hugely. I mean, I'm not
Oh,
going
it's
to say
penalty, isn't it?
you
What can
should
you
have
do?
saved it. I mean, he got close to it, didn't he?
Yeah.
You know.
And then it seemed like we went to absolute pot. So Dickinson comes off really quickly. So I don't know if Taylor was worried he was going to get a red, or Taylor was.
I guess maybe must have been something to do with it, perhaps. But it didn't see. I mean, it didn't have the effect. If it wasn't for that, if it was to kind of introduce Williams to try and, get us back in the game, it really didn't have that effect at all. And in fact, it left us, even more exposed by trying to attack in that next few minutes. But however, there was the incident, wasn't there, where actually a really nice bit of play.
Yeah.
And Ryan Bowman had the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
Only to be called offside. And
you've done some investigation.
Very quick. No, I mean, just it wasn't me, but very quickly, the picture started going around the internet of Ryan Bowman very clearly onside. And annoyingly, it's like it's on the lines. The players who's playing him on side is on the linesman's side as well.
Right.
So you can. I mean, I don't know how he's missed it. But again, that's League Two officiating, isn't it?
It is.
And I'm dead against any kind of VAR in the Premier League, so I can't go moaning too much.
No, but it was disappointing, and Bowman will be really disappointed because actually that was a good finish by him.
Lovely finish and a lovely bit of play.
Well.
Josie did really well in that.
Then we very quickly conceded another 2, so we've gone from 1-0 to 3-1 in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, and those two they were bad
dire.
ones. They were very bad ones. One, Maxted just doesn't come for it. I don't know what that's about. Another one where we just didn't pick up, and I think it's just we're just not we haven't conceded in so long. We've forgotten what it's like, and we just panicked, didn't we?
I think we did panic, and I wonder if the change of Dickinson was unnecessary, and we took Taylor off as well, of course, and Taylor's just really good at that kind of thing sometimes. He can calm, especially with Atangana there as well. He can calm the ship. He can get stuck in. He'll get a yellow card. He'll trip a few players up, break up the play a bit, because that's what we needed. It just kind of went calamitously
well, he wins
downhill.
free kicks really well as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
So that was a real shame.
Yeah.
And then it was done. Obviously 3-1, very hard to come back from. Port Vale just sat behind the ball.
Yeah, we did well to attack them after that, but they weren't coming on to us. So
No.
I think an issue, a point that I would question is, so we started in the middle. Obviously, we've rested Law.
Yeah.
Law's kind of wrapped in cotton wool to a certain extent, isn't he? So we've gone for the 3 of Atangana,
Yeah.
Archie Collins, Jake Taylor.
Yeah.
And I think Archie Collins kind of a bit more in that kind of advanced role that Law would normally play. Yeah. And ask yourself this. If you're Matt J, you just scored 2 goals in the leasing.com.
Yeah.
Afterwards, your manager's asked about you, and he says the thing is he can't get in the team above Nicky Law because Nicky Law's so good.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. No one's arguing that.
Yeah.
And that just seems to be, okay, well, if that's what you consider to be Matt J's position, then you can't argue that selection. But when it comes down to, okay, you can't play Nicky Law, Matt J a week earlier has scored 2 goals against a League 2 team.
Yeah.
He can't get in the team. Archie Collins plays in a position where he's less effective than he would normally be, and Matt J surely has proven his worth.
I know.
And I find it confusing, and also I get, in a way, maybe it's just a kind of security thing of Jay's not as strong, and in the kind of as Collins, but
it's very hard.
What's he got to do?
Well, the first half, of course, yesterday was excellent. Collins, Taylor, and Atangana were all really good.
I agree. Collins did do well in that game, but I think Taylor's already doing that job well enough, and Atangana's doing the defensive work well enough. So that's, for my mind, the combination of Taylor, Atangana, with Matt J as a slightly more advanced of those 3 it's a stable kind of setup.
Maybe.
And I'd feel sorry for him.
I feel sorry for him too. I do feel that he's... I guess maybe it's just his physicality. Maybe that's just what's always going to catch him out. He's energetic. He gets goals. That's all I can think of. I don't know why I'm doing the job of kind of making excuses, but that's all I can think of, really. Because you're right. He scores goals. He's lively.
Yeah.
He chases everything down.
He just literally a week before scored 2 goals.
Yeah.
And had a really good game.
I guess Port Vale are big old side, aren't they? So maybe that's what's going on.
Yeah, I get that. I do get that, but I also think you can't. Do you not owe it to him a little bit to give him a chance?
I wonder if that's more the truth,
especially when you've literally said,
yeah.
I'm not trying to really call out Matt Taylor here and say I can pretend I could do his job any better than him, which obviously I couldn't. But I just feel for Matt J, and I'm disappointed as a fan to not at least see him when we've seen what he can do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We've got some more league games coming up, of course. I think it's Stevenage again, isn't it, on a Tuesday night?
Yeah, it's coming up, yeah.
So maybe we'll see more of him then. But yeah, you're right. If Jay doesn't see more first-team action, he's going to want to go, isn't he?
Yeah, we'd think so, yeah.
You couldn't blame him for that.
No.
So it's kind of interesting, that issue. Lee Martin, of course, came on late on for a Jose. I mean, a Jose had done a good job, hadn't he?
Fisher.
Oh, it was Fisher, was it?
Fisher for a Jose, yeah. Same on Saturday at home to Colchester.
So Martin's still injured?
I guess, I don't know. I think he was on the bench. I'm not 100% on that.
Fisher back then.
It is, yeah. I've still not been convinced by Fisher and Bowman as a pair.
No. You'd think a Jose and Fisher would make some sense, wouldn't you? But
yeah.
Bowman's basically untouchable, isn't he?
He is. But I think there was some questions about whether or not Bowman and Jose could link up. I mean, and I think probably that comes down to just need to play together more.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, for the goal that was disallowed last night, we don't actually see it for the first time of that link up really working really well. Whereas at home on Saturday, Colchester, at times they were slightly too close together. At times, Bowman would pick up the ball from deep, which he does like to do sometimes. And Jose quite clearly wanted it in behind. And I mean, that's the point of having a setup like that.
Yeah.
And Bowman played it into his feet. And Nicky Jose does not seem like a man who minds hiding his emotions, and he was livid, but I think that's going to take more time.
Okay.
But Fisher and Bowman, I don't know what we can expect for that, apart from I don't know.
So we lost 3-1.
3-1.
What you can say about it? Here's my positive.
Okay.
Everyone else ballsed it up as well.
Well, yeah. At least you can rely on that.
So Cambridge lost to Salford. I know they're not in the chase. That got Calderwood sacked. Swindon lost to Colchester. So that makes our 0-0 look more positive again, and our 2-2 at home, away.
Yeah, and also it makes that sets up quite nicely for Saturday, doesn't it?
It does indeed.
More both losing by the same scoreline.
Yes, it's quite happy. Crewe managed to win, but Forest Green got beaten.
What's happened to them?
I don't know. Northampton managed to win, but Argyle drew. So that means that
absolute scenes of that Argyle game.
Oh, was it?
Well, no, I just mean they thought they got what they must have thought was the winner.
And of course, that would have put
having been 1-0 down.
That would have put them a point behind us.
And then something like the 97th minute, Crawley to get one back.
Wow. So the league now looks like this: Swindon sit top, 56 points. We're second, game in hand on Swindon, 54 points. Same games played below us is Crewe, 52 points. Argyle, 28 games played, so a game in hand over us and 2 over Swindon, 51 points. Then you've got Colchester, 49 points. They've played 30. Northampton, 29, played 49 points. Bradford, they've dropped right off, 30 games played, 45 points. Cheltenham below them, they've actually got 2 games in hand over Bradford. Forest Green, then it disappears. Port Vale are just about hanging in there because of last night's win. Everyone else is done for.
It's still essentially, it's 10 points, isn't it, between 2nd and 10th?
It is 10 points between 2nd and 10th. What's interesting about this league now is, and I said this to you last night, I do feel like Swindon won't finish top. I do feel like they're done, and we'll talk about this more in a minute.
Bold claim, especially ahead of Saturday.
I realise that. I mean, I just think there's other teams. I don't think we'll finish top either. That's my instinct. I kind of just want Argyle to overtake us. I think they're the extra factor we don't need, the extra pressure. Because you think we can't, while we've got the opportunity to stay above Argyle, that's amazing, but they're really creeping up behind us.
Yeah, I do think that's probably something that's a bit more of a kind of fan thing. I don't get the impression hugely that the players or Matt Taylor massively care.
Definitely a fan thing then. I just think if it was Colchester sat in 4th, we'd think whatever.
I know that. You got them kind of like looking over your shoulder, and it is annoying. And like everyone is always looking at the Argyle results and hoping that they're losing. And like, that was good to see last night.
Yeah, of course. Ultimately, I just want promotion.
Yeah, and I don't. At the end of the day, I don't care whether as long as we go up, I don't care if they go up above us either. But
maybe I just feel like it would help my stress levels.
I would like it if we finish above them. I'm not gonna lie.
No, me neither. I just think it's just the unsaid thing. It's kind of the elephant in the room, and that's the kind of pressure I don't need in my life. So that leaves us second in the league, of course, and excitingly for all, we travel this Saturday to the county ground, home of Swindon Town. I'll be there. You'll be there.
Yes.
1,500 other City fans will be there, at least.
Well, I thought we sold 1,200 so far.
No, I think we sold 1,500.
Really?
Believe so.
Wow.
So it's going to be a right old away day, as they say.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? I mean, we don't get to many away games. This is the first one I've been to this year. It's the first one you've been to?
Yeah, same, yeah.
Yeah, and I wish I could go to more, but a lot of people are going to this one, aren't they? More.
Yeah.
So this seems to be the main one, apart from obviously Argyle. We'll take a lot to that too. But yeah,
so
looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. So Swindon, obviously they sit top. Their form has dropped off somewhat. So in the last 5, they've won, lost and drawn. Of course, they've had a big change to their strike force. They've lost both of their strikers.
Yeah.
Both been recalled on loan. I forgot. One's gone to Bradford. The other one's gone somewhere else. I can't even remember.
It was Rochdale, wasn't it?
Oh, was it?
So it's Doyle's gone back to
Bradford.
And so the other guy, whoever he was, has gone back to Rochdale, I believe.
So that means their top scorer now is Anderson up front, who's got 6 so far this year. That's their top scorer. Now,
that's the same as Port Vale, though.
I mean, true. They've got no one else, though. It's worth saying.
No.
He's the top scorer, and then the next that anyone's scored is 2.
I think it's like, obviously that's going to be it's going to be a big blow in it, as we can attest. If you lose your main goal scorer in January, it's hard to carry on the same way,
Absolutely.
We've been there. And they won last weekend, didn't they? Obviously, BYD beat Port Vale.
Beat Port Vale 3-0.
And so, but is that a little bit of kind of, you got to think, is that a bit of, rallying the troops after, and how long can you actually keep that going rather than make up for the fact that you have actually lost 2 of your best players?
Yes.
Like that actually has happened.
And of course, when Stockley went from us, our January was okay. It was February, March that we really struggled. So, Saturday's going to be a really interesting test. Of course, when we've lost badly this season, and there have been occasions when we've bounced back pretty well. So the Bradford loss was our last one until now. And then before that, it was the Cambridge Cup one. And both times we bounced back pretty well. So we're going to need that kind of response again. I mean, they're going to be, if you can't get up for this kind of game, what can you get up for?
Yeah, and we'll see. Law will be back in there starting, won't he?
Yeah.
And presumably Williams will start.
Yeah. I think Collins will lose out, won't he? Collins will be swapped directly for Law.
Well, unless Taylor unless that was an injury to Taylor last night.
Oh, okay. It didn't look, I mean, he ran off fairly quick.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. He's the one who missed out before, isn't he?
Yes.
Taylor. So we'll see what happens there. I would go with, if they're all fit, I would go with Atangana, Taylor, and Law. But since when has anything I've said counted for anything?
Massive game. If we win, we go top.
Yes.
I mean, that's an incentive and a half, isn't it?
Should be, shouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, if our other colleagues at the top of the league are anything to go by, if we manage to win, they'll probably win.
Yeah.
If we lose, they'll probably lose. But
we've got to show some character. Do you remember back along when we came back from that 3-0 down to draw 3-3?
Yes.
Was that Walsall?
That was Walsall, yeah.
Yeah, and then Matt Taylor was livid afterwards that anyone kept saying, I think it was, that Simon Larkins sort of accidentally sort of slipped the word out, good character, and he went nuts saying, I didn't want to hear the word character, it's nothing to do with that. And then pretty much every interview since, he's gone on about how good the character of the squad is. So it's like, I don't know.
Well, he was obviously cross after that 3-0, wasn't he?
Would you want to interview him after a loss? Last night actually seemed fairly, to use a Paul Tisdale phrase, philosophical about it. But, sometimes you think, oh, I wouldn't want to be there.
He's quite stern, isn't he?
Yeah.
I wonder, Maxted didn't do as well as he could have last night. Now, obviously, he's been phenomenal in some games. I wonder if it means we'll see Ward back in goal.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's his time. I don't know. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it?
I wonder if
Johnny Maxted has sort of overseen that really good run where we haven't load of clean sheets, played really well, made a load of really impressive saves. But still, I find myself thinking that Ward's the better option there.
He's just quick on distribution, isn't he? There was a point yesterday.
He's definitely better. He's definitely quicker at that and more assertive with his kind of like distribution for sure.
There was a point yesterday, and Port Vale were attacking. I think it was 2-1. I think it was before the third went in, and they'd sent 5 or 6 forward. And Maxted came out and got the ball on the edge of the box and very quickly could have released. I think it was Richardson. And he didn't. He really resisted, even though he had very good view in front of him. And Ward was doing that kind of stuff, wasn't he? Back September, October, and I do think against Swindon at home, they're going to be attacking. They're going to have to look like this is their main promotion rivals. They're going to have to look like they want to win. Yeah. I think Ward could be the one for that distribution alone. If their shot stopping is exactly the same, Ward's definitely got that over Maxted.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I wouldn't be. Yeah. It's no secret or anything that I wouldn't be pleased to see him back in there. Nothing against Maxted. I think he's good keeper, but
I wonder.
But obviously, I saw him at the leasing.com. Ward played 90 minutes. I mean, obviously,
he didn't have much to do, did he?
He had nothing to do, so it's very difficult to really judge him on much of that. But we've seen him do what he can do earlier in the season before he broke his arm, and at the time it was like that was a big thing. It was like, oh, like this is bad.
Yeah.
We've lost Lewis Ward. And it's turned out we've been all right,
Probably more than all right. Couldn't have gone better, essentially.
Yeah. Couldn't have gone better, really. Well, we could be top. But there's been a few moments, hasn't there? As in, there's been some big highs and some big lows in the goalkeeping department.
There has, but overall...
And I think before that we were just kind of experiencing solid consistency, weren't we? I think that's what Ward is. And he's just a bit more of a kind of... That's why I'm a sort of safer pair of hands. Like, nothing against Maxted again. I just think it might not be the worst thing in the world.
I wonder, given that we had 3 goalkeepers approaching January, Ward was coming back from injury, I wonder if there was ever the conversation between Ward and Taylor about whether it was worth him sticking around. Because obviously Visser was on short term. I don't know. Who knows if there would have been offers, but there may have been, mightn't there?
What, for Ward?
Yeah.
He's been here 5 minutes.
I know, but he's been great.
He ain't going anywhere.
Well, maybe.
Visser's still there, by the way.
Is he?
Yeah.
Still training with us?
Yeah.
Is he?
Apparently so.
Oh, right.
But he's just not getting paid, I guess.
Well, I guess if you've got nowhere to go, you might as well stick
of course,
with it.
yeah. You got to train, haven't you? But
got to train.
Someone come and pick him up.
Well, you can get emergency loans for keepers, can't you?
Yeah.
So he'll be feeling like hoping for that, won't he?
Someone come and get him. He's brilliant.
If any manager of another league club is listening to this,
which I'm sure you are,
trying
to get a bit of insight,
give Visser a job.
Tell you who else is listening to this.
Who?
Richie Wellens.
Do you think he is?
Richie, we know you're listening. Don't go thinking going to get any insight and get a head start on Saturday's game, because we don't know what we're talking about.
Famously that Norwegian commentator went mad and listed all the people from England that, your boys took one hell of a beating. You remember that commentary?
Yeah.
Maggie Thatcher, all that. And then, of course, we've adapted it for Plymouth.
Yeah.
Chris Honeybun, etc. If I had to do that about Swindon, I could not name one person from Swindon. Except maybe Neil from The Office, who's fictional.
Yeah, the Swindon lot. I would say...
Have you heard of anyone from Swindon apart from players from the team?
Well, I just think I'd say Glenn Hoddle.
Oh, yeah.
But I know he's not from Swindon.
Jan Haga Fjortov.
Yeah, John Moncur.
Yeah.
I do associate him with,
Wasn't Nicky Summerby there as well?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, there we go. So we got
John Gorman.
John Gorman, yeah.
He took over from Hoddle, didn't he?
He did, yeah. All right, well, you're going to take one hell of a beating, Richie Wellens.
Oh, don't say that.
Oh, I'm always cursing things. I cursed it last night, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
1-0 up. I said, there's no way Port Vale are getting back into this.
You said, they've got nothing.
I did say that. I did. What an absolute clown. Anyway, that's Swindon. Other news from City, of course, and it's quite big news, or quite significant news in a way.
Well, it's been made into quite. Yeah, no, it is. It is big news. Yeah.
Well, it's caused a lot of discussion.
Yeah.
So, Colchester United, some oiks from Essex, some absolute clowns, have nicked the Red Legion banner,
Yes.
which has since been returned. But because of now, correct me, anyone who's listening to this who knows more, but this is my
Don't
understanding.
worry, I know the whole thing.
Okay, dear. So my understanding is from the Red Legion that their kind of code of conduct, which is they've bought into from other ultras groups,
Yep.
is that essentially once your banner gets nicked, it shows you're not up to the task of being that kind of ultra group, and so you have to disband.
Yes.
Have I got that right?
Yeah. Apparently, there's precedent. I think same thing happened to AC Milan, apparently.
Right.
And at other places too. Possibly Köln. Is that how you say it? The German team.
Yeah, Cologne we call it, don't we? But Köln is FC Köln is
Right,
the club. Yeah.
Aftershave FC.
That's their nickname.
So that's how it goes. You get your main. I think it's your main banner. It has to be your main banner that gets nicked, and then that's it. You should have protected it, and you haven't. So you got to disband, and then that's what they've done.
That's what they've done.
So the Red
with
Legion
immediate effect.
The Red Legion is no more.
Now the follow-on from that is these Colchester morons took a photo of themselves with it. Ha ha ha! We've got your thing. Now I don't know if they're an ultra group or not, but they've nicked the thing.
I think the assumption is that they are because they knew what to do. They are holding it upside down.
Oh, that's the sign of disrespect, is it?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And
but they nicked it the night before.
so it wasn't there on Saturday.
It wasn't there on Saturday. So apparently, they broke in. I think what they think's happened is they broke in Friday night. I mean, it's not hard, is it?
Well, no, it's a great big field with
You
small
just
walls
jump
around
over kind of like, a wall.
Yeah.
And then you're in.
Yeah.
Students probably do it all the time.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Score a goal.
Yeah.
Put
You
their
can't-
shirt over their head.
I mean, and you can't have like 24-hour security on there just to protect.
Well, it's massive as well. Like obviously you can't you could keep one corner safe and someone else getting the other end. So that's what happened. It got nicked Saturday. So presumably these
Friday.
lads, the Legion, men and women, on Saturday were like, oh well, we're done then. Presumably, because then they put a statement out almost straight away. And I genuinely think they've been brilliant. They've organised all sorts of brilliant things. Their kind of displays they've done, real endeavour to create atmosphere.
Well, yeah. And look at it this way. Me and you we're fans who go to the home games, and we're not doing any of that, are we?
No.
So it's good that someone is.
Yes.
Because, someone's got to do it. Well, they don't, but it's good that they did, and it's not something that everyone can do or can be bothered to do, or
No, indeed so.
it's got the will to. So
they've
it
done
is,
that. And I know that they felt that the criticism of them throughout the years has been harsh, based on the fact that they're doing something while other people don't do something. And I'm inclined to agree with them.
Yeah. I mean, every now and then there's two sides to every argument, isn't there? So every now and then there's things where you think like, well, come on, don't do that, or don't sing that song, or whatever.
But of course, it's a crowd, isn't it?
My main beef being, and I'm not saying every single chant is orchestrated and signed off on by each member, but that one where they're, calling Luke McCormack, I feel like there should be, if someone was in charge of organising that group, at least get that bit right. But on the whole, you're right. Yeah, it was a force for good, and for the good of the atmosphere anyway, and for that's over. But I think that basically they can just kind of get a new name and start again if they want to. If the people involved actually want to do that, there's nothing stopping. There's no conduct going like, no, there has to be a kind of like, now there has to be a period of
mourning or convalescence or whatever.
Yeah. No, they can just get going again with a different name. Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen with
I think fair play to them.
I didn't know anything about this. I mean, I know that, I know about ultra groups and stuff, and that they have certain ways of operating, and that in other countries they take it a lot further with certain things, where they're basically kind of like lobbying the club and holding players to ransom and all this kind of thing. But I didn't know it was,
And of course, there's loads of different versions, aren't there? So there's I've always put the Legion in the kind of category of we're a positive force for supporting this club here. There are, of course, other versions, like in Italy, where they're very much a negative force, where it's kind of, you can't stand there, we stand here, that kind of thing. Like, there's never been any inkling of that kind of stuff. They've just been a good crowd trying to do positive things. And I do imagine they get blamed for stuff that's nothing to do with them, just because they're the only named thing in that crowd. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. I'm sure it happens, yeah.
So that's them. So the Legion is done. We'll wait and see if something new happens. I really hope that something new does happen. Like, there's loads of different ways of going about it, but I hope there's not just this void where people who made noise, who are part of that group, think we won't turn out anymore, or...
I think there's some of them have even said that they're all still going to go, but it's just not a group anymore.
I just think you can push people a bit too hard
You
sometimes.
wouldn't be I don't see how you could go from being like, I'm so into going to watch City that I'm literally going to give up a load of my free time to and put a load of work into making these kind of displays and put this, and then because the group has now disbanded for whatever reason, I'm now not even going to the game anymore. It's all over. I'm going to take up
No, I agree
ultimate
with you.
frisbee.
But I do think you can push people too hard sometimes. I don't think they do that. But I think if people just go on and on and on at them, like, about it, or why have you given up, even though they've explained very clearly, like, it might not be something that people agree with or understand, but we're in no doubt about what their rationale was for that. And I think if they just get slagged off to death, they might just think, not we're never supporting Exeter City again, but we'll just go and stand somewhere else, or we'll sit somewhere else. And,
fair enough. I mean, maybe.
And I hope that void isn't created.
We'll see. But you are always going to get some kind of... you're always going to have a bit of dissidence, aren't you, within ranks and people doing something and people are like, oh, I don't like what you're doing. Or you're always going to get the keyboard kind of warriors.
Yeah.
And, so you can't just... I'd be disappointed if it was just down to the fact that, someone on Twitter has been, given us a load of shit all for 2 years. So now it's not just a flag thing. Actually, we're sick of that. Just that would be a... Yeah. But we'll see. Anyway, because I was interested in all this, I was looking up... I wanted to try and find out a bit more about Ultra just because I found it interesting.
Yeah.
And I did find a quite interesting podcast from The Athletic.
Okay.
But it's free and got to pay for it or anything.
Okay.
And it's called What Are Ultras with Martino Shimmick from Copper 90. So if you want to search for that, came out in February 2019. It doesn't say much about the kind of capture the flag element of it, but it's there's a lot in there about kind of like where it came from, like what they get up to, what it means nowadays. So if you're interested in that, check it out.
We'll tweet that link out maybe, and so people can have a listen if they want to.
Yeah.
But listen to this first, which you obviously are doing. So that's probably enough information for today. We'll see you all at the county ground. Don't forget you can get in touch with us as normal on Twitter at Big Bank Pod, on Facebook with the Big Bang Theory Podcast, and on email with bigbankpod@gmail.com. Something else worth saying, Daniel?
Well, we haven't mentioned Paul Tisdale's little piece for the Daily Mail.
Okay, what's he doing in that?
I don't know why it's happened, but
sympathising with the Nazis?
No.
Oh, that's good.
He'd just written a bit about sort of like a critique of Jurgen Klopp's management style. I mean, I don't know who asked him to, or what.
So failed League One manager Paul Tisdale is critiquing world champion manager Jurgen Klopp.
It's not so in a negative way.
Okay, he's analysing.
He's analysing.
All right.
Well, it's a positive criticism,
Does he say it's good that he wears hats, but where are the ear flaps?
He didn't. I don't think he goes into that kind of thing. It's mostly just kind of. But I guess it's kind of put himself in the shop window a bit, isn't it? Why else would he do it? And he's popping up on Quest TV and stuff as well. I hope he gets another job. I'm now completely over any kind of hard feelings.
Are you?
Yeah.
So when he goes to Argyle, you'll be happy with that.
He wouldn't do that to me.
I wonder if Cambridge United is appealing to him.
Yeah, definitely is.
Could be, couldn't it? He thinks of himself as a bit of a university fella.
Yeah. Well, you should see. Maybe you've seen it. I did tweet a picture of it. You maybe should see the photo of him in a library along with the article. It's him sat in this kind of leather chair, and with all like old books behind him, and I think like a sort of globe mini bar kind of thing, or and he's looking very serious.
Dan, I wouldn't put this past him. He gets a job at Cambridge United. He starts wearing a Mortar board, right? and the full university gowns. That's what he wears now.
Yeah.
Wouldn't put that past him at all.
Maybe not. I'd be surprised if he went to Cambridge, but because I think I don't think that a League Two team would be his first choice. But we'll see.
I don't know if many League One teams are going to come looking for him, but there we are.
Well, he only had what do you have, less than half a season at MK Dons?
But he also had very little success in the last 5 years, so we'll see. Apart from that promotion.
2 playoff finals.
2 failed playoff finals. Well, thanks for listening, Paul. Good luck in your new job at the library.
Yep.
We'll talk more about that next week, I'm sure. My name's John. I've been here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Cheers.
See you soon.